Hello everyone, this is Weather coming at you with another update. And this update, we're going to be talking about a major winter storm with some heavy snow and some ice, including parts of the south. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right. So let's get started. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's kind of delve right into the details. Here's your latest watches and warnings map. We've got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings for heavy snow in Montana and getting into Wyoming here. And then we also have winter weather advisories in Nebraska, going into Illinois again, Wisconsin, as well as Michigan. So let's kind of delve right into it. Here's the surface map as of this morning, Friday the 5th. We've got that little feature that went across Illinois earlier. I mean, they've already had, 18 inches of snow in Chicago in the last 10 days. So they've had a lot of snow there. And we had another system just move through, and that will continue moving across into Michigan, and as well as Pennsylvania, getting into New York with kind of sporadic snow showers. And we have an active northwest cross-polar flow really starting to set up. And you can kind of see the freezing line here with this little red line being depicted on where the freezing temperatures are. So as this continues moving across, these are like quick moving systems. So this will rapidly move off into the northeast. And yet we have another system just back behind it. You can see the classic cross-polar flow really starting to set up by Saturday morning. And this freezing line also digs a little bit further south as well. And you can see the temperatures by then. These are actual temperatures, not wind chills. So we're talking below zero low temperatures in places like the Dakotas, getting into Minnesota, and those lows will start to creep into Iowa, which was just devastated by that snowstorm yesterday. I-80 was just a nightmare, and now they're going to be dealing with some Arctic air really starting to filter in back behind it. But you can see it's well to the south. We've got still warm air in place, so that Arctic air holds off for the time being. And so as we go into Saturday, so here's kind of the transition day. I mean, that Arctic air presses, but it's also shallow. So this is our coldest air of the season. It's not polar. We're talking Arctic. I mean, this is coming from that stratospheric warming event that happened all the way like the first week in January. It's taken a month to get here, but it's here and it's coming in a big way. And you can see as we get into Saturday afternoon, that Arctic air will start to press, and it's a little pressing a tad bit further south than what we kind of hinted at yesterday. That changes the game. So, because we also have a developing system coming in from the south, that's going to produce some rain down in the southeast, but it's also going to allow for this feature to kind of merge together with this upper feature to the north. And so as it's merging, it's able to tap into some of that Gulf moisture. And as it kind of swings across into the northeast, we do have our snowstorm that's going to be taking place in the northeast. Now, it's not going to be nor'eastern. Earlier on, we were thinking possibly a nor'eastern. Then it came off the table because it all depended on this shallow, cold air. But it does look like it connects, but it doesn't exactly merge. So this low stays off the coast, but it's going to stay close enough. So it's going to bring some snow into Virginia, getting into West Virginia. Now we're talking into DC, Delaware, getting into Jersey by then as the cold air starts to penetrate further south. And this will allow this feature to connect together and dump some of those heavier snows into Super Bowl Sunday. And this will be more of a coastal event. So as this traverses across, we're talking several inches in DC, probably 4 to 5 in Philly, New York, Long Island, 4 to 5 inches, as this low is just close enough where it's going to be able to bring some snow to those coastal cities, but it's going to be a quick mover. It's no nor'eastern or anything like that, but it's going to be a quick mover as this continues moving across into the northeast, dumping some heavier snows now into Massachusetts, going into Connecticut and Rhode Island. And eventually this will get into the upper portions of the Northeast. But this one's mainly going to be a coastal event. But we've got more on the backside because that colder air will continue to push further south. You can see slowly but surely this freezing line reaches all the way to Texas now. We're talking Monday, February the 8th. And as we're looking at temperatures. So, I mean, these are going to be dangerously cold wind chills up into the north central U.S. I mean, they've got wind chill advisories out. We're talking wind chills of 20, if not upwards to 40 below zero. That is some dangerously cold wind chills up there where you can get frostbite in less than, say, 10 minutes. And these could peak out at 50 below zero in places like Minnesota. But these colder temperatures will continue to press southward into Iowa, creeping into Missouri by Monday morning. And this, when that happens, it'll set the stage for another event. I mean, we've got these systems is just a very active pattern now. And as this cold air continues to press, we still got that southwest flow it's going to be able to tap into. So then we have another snowstorm breaking out into Missouri, more snow for you guys in Chicago, Illinois. Pretty much the entire state is going to get hit with this one, going into Indiana, going into northern portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, get into New York by then, as well as Michigan and parts of Wisconsin. And that will continue lifting off as that cold air tries to press. I mean, it's pressing, but it's shallow, right? It's definitely shallow, but eventually it'll lose the war and that Arctic air will win out and continue all the way down to the deep south, as we'll get into here in a little bit. But this second storm by Tuesday, it's more of an interior event. It's rain on the south side. So as this Arctic air pushes, it's centered in the central U.S. It's going to push all the way down to the coast into Texas, and then it's going to push east. So a lot of these warmer temperatures are going to be locked in for the southeast earlier on. And there's going to be mainly a rain event with that second storm on the coastal regions, but then heavier snows into the interior regions, into Vermont and New Hampshire, get into Maine, and we'll go over some of those snowfall totals, but that will continue lifting off on Tuesday. These are quick moving systems. So as you can see the freezing line, as we go into almost Wednesday morning now we're talking it's going to be getting almost in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with that Arctic surge continue to press south into the southeast. But yeah, here are some of the snow amounts of the latest European model. So we've got that a first initial band that's going to be dumping some heavier snows into portions of northwest South Carolina, Virginia, going into North Carolina, and then as well as West Virginia, and all up kind of hugging the coast into Delaware, possibly DC with a couple inches. Baltimore getting into Jersey with 4 or 5, Philly 4 or 5 inches, New York City 4 or 5, possibly 4 or 5 inches along the coast here. But when then that second storm hits on Tuesday, we even have heavier snows to the interior regions. The coastal regions dry out, but the interior regions will pick up some possibly double-digit snowfall totals with that event, as this active northwest flow, cross-polar flow continues with some heavier snows into Idaho, into Montana, and then a little lighter amounts as we get into portions of, upper Missouri. I'd say possibly St. Louis could see some snow from this deal, maybe 3 inches, but that's where the break-off is. And then as this pushes south, but we'll get into the southern regions here in a little bit, and you can see the Canadian model. I mean, we've got, it's not a guarantee with this system, because it doesn't even have the coastal. It has that low pushing further out east, and it doesn't have the coastal event for Sunday, but it has some of the snow on the backside on Tuesday. And then the GFS model kind of implies the same thing. It has a coastal event with 2 to 4 to 5 inches, but it doesn't have the interior event on Tuesday. So right now I'm leaning towards the Euro model for the next 5 days between now and Wednesday. So now let's take a look at a little bit further south with that Arctic air. And this is really impressive outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. We're talking their 6 to 10 day outlook from the 10th through Valentine's Day. This is impressive stuff. This is the top 5 coldest outlook they have had since January of 2011, guys. We're talking up to 2,600 updates since then. And this is in the top 5 of the coldest outlooks they've issued. And they're pretty warm biased. So this is pretty impressive coming out from the Climate Prediction Center of this Arctic air that's going to be intruding into the United States. And you can see by Thursday, it pretty much wins, and all of the United States' getting to be locked in from this Arctic air. And these are, morning low temperatures. So it's well entrenched with below zero temperatures for probably 30 to 40% of the country, of the central part of the U.S. And that colder air will continue to press, and that will start getting into Texas and parts of the deep south. And that sets the stage for our potentially snow and ice event for the deep south. We're talking anywhere from the 11th through the 15th. So here's the setup around the 11th. So let's kind of really get into this. Here's the setup by the 11th. So we got colder Arctic air pushing in. We're talking highs, probably not even getting above freezing in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, all the way down into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, as we have a developing trough out here. We talked about the southern branch of the jet stream getting active in previous updates, and that is going to come to fruition as this kind of sets up an overriding setup for the deep south. And this will create snow and ice events for the deep south all the way down to the I-20 corridor. So by Saturday, I mean, this is a rare event. How often do you see a trough south into Mexico in the middle of February, right? I mean, that is an ideal setup for potentially snow and ice all the way down to the deep south. We're talking all the way down to possibly the Rio Grande Valley, I-20, Baton Rouge, places that does not see snow and ice, every single year, right? It's kind of a rare event for the South, but that is going to be on the table as we go into late next week, getting into next weekend, as we continue moving across. Here is your noon time temperatures on Friday, the 12th. Yeah, 25 degrees in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Yeah, 20s in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, getting to Georgia. So that Arctic air really starts to take hold. And as that overriding setup, that is just a prime setup for potentially snow and ice all the way down to the deep south as Arctic air continues to lock into the northern parts of the United. These are actual noontime temperatures on Sunday. We're talking minus 20 below zero in Iowa. I mean, places like Chicago, 17 below. I mean, Chicago might not even get them above 10 degrees for the next 10 days. That's going to be their high for the next 10 days. So this is definitely some Arctic air, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So here's the probability guidance from the 11th through the 15th of snow. And some of these darker blues are your heavier snow probability. So yeah, definitely a rare event. Snow reaching all the way down to Houston, possibly Louisiana, all the way down to the coastal regions, and even the panhandle of Florida has a possibility of picking up snow from this setup that's going to be on the table. So I kind of wanted to show you a couple of model guidance. So I obviously don't take this verbatim, but this will kind of give you an idea of the setup. Obviously, we've got colder Arctic air in place. This freezing line is all the way down to the coast now. And then we have those kind of overriding setups producing possibly snow and ice all the way down from the deep south. And yeah, by Saturday, going into Sunday, we're talking anywhere from, ice all the way into Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. I mean, Atlanta, all the way down to the panhandle of Florida. So this is definitely an icy setup. I mean, here's your snow that would include just the next 10 days. So it's definitely kind of picking up on some snow. Again, don't take this verbatim, but obviously this will change of the exact. I'm just talking about pattern recognition right now of potential snow and ice setup for the deep south, and it definitely has a heavier pocket for portions of the southeast. And even the Climate Prediction Center is already highlighted. I mean, look at this, heavy snow for places from the 12th through the 16th for Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, Virginia. I mean, how often do you see them issuing heavy snow for portions of the Southeast? So we're talking, this is a probability. Here's some of your ice. Now, unfortunately, this Arctic air is shallow. With shallow air, that typically with these overriding setups, unfortunately, this looks like more of an ice event than a snow event for the South. It'll be a mixture, but an ice event is definitely on the table for the deep South, extending all the way down to the coast by the time we get into late next week, going into next weekend. So, I mean, you can see the different modeling right now. It's kind of all over the place in the precise locations, but it kind of gives you an idea of where the snow and ice is going to set up for the deep south as we get into late next week into next weekend. So we're talking possibly from the, like say the 11th through the 15th, 16th time frame. Those 4, 5, 6 days are going to be times to watch the deep south for snow and ice setup. So I appreciate you guys watching. I know this was a lot to cover in this video. Thanks for hanging with me. Do like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.